Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Feeling and Healing podcast. Today, I am on with Kaitlyn. She is also another fellow therapist. I love have and coach too, but I love having another mental health professional on. So welcome, Kaitlyn. Thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course. And now you are working private practice. I know when we first spoke, you previously worked with veterans, but now Caitlin's all on her own, doing the thing as a therapist with a private practice, which is awesome. So congrats on that.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
been
today
fun.
we are going to talk about one of the subjects, which I actually think you're the first person. There's another person that's coming on in the future that I'm going to be talking about this subject, which is I think prevalent right now. Is The subject is narcissism. So I know you shared your experience with this personality type. But yeah, I'm just open to your thoughts and your experiences with it, and because I definitely have my own opinions.
Yes, yes.
As we were just
Well,
talking about a little bit.
yeah, I do think that there is more understanding of what they are now, right? So there's this,
Hmm.
people say like, oh, they throw that name around a lot, or they say that word a lot, and everyone is this or whatever. But I think it's just that we have um words to explain a little bit more of what we didn't understand before.
Hmm.
So my personal experience, I was married to one, and I didn't even want to give him that, term.
Yeah, that
But
label.
yeah, label. I remember like talking to my therapist and having her, she's like, uh, I'll never forget. She goes, "Is your husband a narcissist?" And I
Really?
was like, "No." Huh.
And you're like, wait.
Like, wait a second. Is he? I don't know. Like, I'm a
Yeah.
therapist. I should know these things.
Right?
And then she's like, yeah, I think he's like really, really gaslighting you. And I was like, that doesn't feel good how that sits.
Yeah.
So I remember going back and being like, oh my gosh, you're right. You're
Mm.
you're absolutely right. So then of course I with my brain, I just had to like delve into it and see like, oh my gosh, what does this even mean? And now the universe has allowed me to just help a lot of women who
Yeah.
experience this. And, not every man is or not every woman is, right? But at the same time, if we have that level of awareness of like, oh, this isn't normal ways that you treat people. Oh,
Hmm.
okay. It really, starts to make sense a little bit.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'll share with you too, and I know when we first spoke, like I've had my share with people with narcissistic tendencies. I'd say one like full-blown narcissist, like I would say, like I feel comfortable saying this person was a narcissist, but like you, I feel like I'm like, yeah, like I don't want to label these people and be like, oh, they're all like, like because we all have it's a spectrum, right?
Hmm.
Like we all have we all it's like anything. There's a range to which we have within us. But yeah, I just feel like similar to you. There's just a lot of people suffering right now, and just a lot of people like I'm really appreciative that you are doing what you're doing with your clients now to give them a voice because it is from my experience with it, a very silencing like experience.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's also like depending on which type you're with, right? Like, are
Hmm.
you with more of a covert or an overt one? I was just having this discussion the other day about uh sometimes the way they move is
Yeah.
just like so slick, right?
Mm.
Especially a covert narcissist. Like I joke that I could have a conversation with my ex in front of someone else, like as a witness, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
that person every time will be like, oh, wow, like you guys really co-parent well. You guys are doing great, blah, blah, blah. But in my head, I'm like, yeah, but you didn't see what I saw. And you didn't like pick up
Mm.
on the tone of voice or the way they move their feet or just their like overall isms, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think that's what makes victims or survivors of narcissistic abuse even more susceptible to certain things, right?
Yeah.
But also like just so hyper vigilant about everything. Like you had to pay close attention or else you'd miss something.
Yeah, for sure. And I know just from like my experience too, like these people, these narcissists, like they like to also like trauma bond with you and form that like really intense attachment first.
Mhm.
So it's even harder to kind of detach from them.
Yes. And they'll see you when you're down and they'll
Mm.
say, "Oh, yeah, that'd be an easy one because she's got this going on or she just experienced this or
Hmm.
whatever. It'd be nothing for me to just go in and make make her feel like I'm saving her from this
Mm.
situation."
Yeah, or like yeah, you're there. I will say the moments in my life that I was like kind of caught in the webs of a people with narcissistic tendencies was that like very vulnerable moments of my life. I will share that. You know, like very not like super crazy, but just like I could like looking back on it, I'm like, yeah, emotionally you were a little tad bit vulnerable and maybe like you didn't see the signs, because everything that's another thing too, I'm sure you can speak to experiencing it yourself and also working with your clients is like you're not less than or like just because you didn't see this like you're being actively manipulated so like I have to remind myself sometimes with these kind of people like they're very good at what
Mhm.
they do
Oh, yes.
you know
Very, very good. And if you trust one of them and your
mm
gut allows it, then after the fact, when you figure out what's really going on, it keeps you from being able to trust your gut as much as you could before.
mm.
You're like, well, ooh, maybe, it just kind of causes you to doubt yourself.
Yeah. Did you have any like bodily sensations there? I'm sure your nervous system was just like firing off with your ex-husband. Or did you have any like did your body tell you or give you any signals?
Oh, yeah, I did have a time at some point where I guess I was just kind of ignoring stuff or just trying to like cope.
Yeah.
And there was something that like I could sense something was going on. He was a super cheater, so I could always sense like, oh, something is
Mm,
off here.
mm.
But I remember just like being in denial about this one, and my whole body broke out in a rash. It's like,
Really? Oh, wow.
what is going on right now? Like I had been planting the day before, so I was like, oh, maybe it's something that's there.
Mm.
And then no, it was just my body was like, nope, whatever this is, you can't do this
That's
anymore.
wow. So that's yeah, I mean you talk about your body sending you a message.
Yeah, loud and clear.
Yeah. No, that is yeah, and I mean, yeah, I'm sure it was yeah, clearly screaming like
Mhm.
I'm not safe, get me out. I don't know, when that was, but yeah, and then yeah, of course you try to rationalize and you justify. You're like, "Oh, wait, but no, it's this, it's that." But probably looking back in hindsight, it's always 2020, unfortunately, a lot of times with these people, you're like,
Mhm.
"Oh, that was a signal."
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, and I think we all have those little micro moments where we say like something doesn't feel right or whatever, but then they swoop in with the intermittent reinforcement, and it's like, oh,
Yes.
oh, yeah, okay, I guess everything's fine because you're doing this, right?
Oh, I'm so happy you brought
Mom.
that up. That intermittent reinforcement for anybody who doesn't know, and like I think forgive me, I can't think of her name right now, and I'm having that she's like the
Dr.
narcissist.
Romani.
Yes, Dr. Ramadi talks about it. Thank you. Thank you. She's like the queen of narcissism. It's like a slot machine. It's like that's why people go to the slot machines because like the whole concept is like you think you're gonna get this big payout. So it's like you
Mhm.
keep that cycle going, that toxic cycle, but you never get like the great thing.
Yeah.
And they know how to unfortunately get you in that cycle.
Hmm. Yep, and keep you there. And if
Yes.
you don't want to stay there, they'll find other ways to make sure that you're exactly where they want you to be.
Yes, unfortunately. I guess and what advice would you give? Because I know this is also so hard because I've been in like I guess like you would call it a trauma bond in that toxic cycle. And it is like it's a chemical they're also like manipulating the chemical, our
Mhm.
bodies work in a certain way and our cortisol levels and our dopamine, like that's all unfortunately working against you when you're in a relationship like this because it's keeping those, it's keeping you in fight or flight. It's keeping you like in this. It was like what I guess like what advice do you have to people that are maybe perhaps in one of these unhealthy relationships to maybe get out? Because trust me, they're not easy to get out of. I mean,
No, they're not. And everyone's situation is different.
yeah.
I think for for me having been in it, I can look back and remember I wasn't as close to some of my friends as I could have been because they tried to warn me.
Mm.
So
Mm.
it's like if you think about how close some friends are, they get you on, you know, beneath the surface level, right? And if those are the people that are telling you something is off here, you should probably listen to them. But problem is we
Mm.
don't want to because we're like, what do they know? They're just jealous. They're just this, they're just that, whatever. But they're seeing things, and it's usually that they're seeing you act different around this person.
Mm. That's very interesting. And I also, and I know because you were married to somebody who was a narcissist, I saw something. It's actually this person like on Instagram, which I know is like not the best source for like anything mental health. I'll say that. Like, go to a professional if you need real advice. But this guy was actually saying he was a narcissist. He was like, I've been diagnosed with NPD, narcissistic personality disorder, for those of you who don't know what that is. And then he said that like around him, like all his friends and all his, they were like, I can't see you, like I don't see it. And then the one person that was like, yeah, you are, was his spouse.
Hmm.
So a lot of the times I find it is it's like your most intimate relationship, or like the person you're, literally like sharing your life with, like they're the ones that unfortunately get um the brunt of it. For lack of a better term.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I mean, I think it's also, if you think about your quality relationships in the beginning of something like that, and uh, typically people will start to become more isolated because that person
Mm,
has made them feel that they have to be, and they don't really have close friends anymore, you know.
yeah.
And that's another like thing to just watch for. Like, am I close to the same people that I was before? And if
Mm.
not, then why? You know?
True, because I know one of their tactics is to isolate you
Hmm.
for like the moments that when you're experiencing maybe that like, like something might be off here, that you don't have that support system anymore and you don't have those people to go to be like, yeah, you're in this kind of relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. Another one too, I always tell people like if you're having to justify something that that person did, like making
Mm,
excuses for them. And I see this happen all the time with women who have been with a narcissistic partner. They're always covering things up. They're
mm,
always making everything look picture perfect because that's the way that it should be, right?
mm,
And then unfortunately they go into the similar dynamic where they're just making excuses for the next one and the next one and the next one. It's like, yeah, yeah, I'll allow them to treat me this way because I mean, I kind of was a little sassy earlier, but
mm.
you see what I mean?
Yep.
So I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you're
They're
making
like,
excuses for the person you're dating, and it's like month one. Ooh, that's not.
yeah, yeah, I guess that's too. Like, how do you find like what are those like, I guess, like early signs? Because I know, like, of course, like I guess like we all have like red flags, you know,
Mhm.
yellow flags, green flags. But like, what are those like big red flags, especially early on in relationships, that like people can look out for, to maybe be like, something maybe ain't added up here.
Mhm.
Not to be like
Um,
they're a full blown narcissist, but just kind of be like to protect themselves a little bit.
yeah. I mean, number one that I normally see is love bombing.
Yeah.
So is it moving too fast?
Mm,
Like, are they pushing for you to meet their family? Are they pushing to meet your family and friends within a month saying, I love you, or we have a future together? All of those things. Like, those are like, stare me in the face, red flag.
yeah, like yeah, like hello, life's a little too
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah. But then also, like, what are their relationships like with other people? Are they quality relationships? Are they nice to people when you go out? Like,
Mm,
waiters or
yeah.
like anybody in the helping profession, like how do they treat those people? And is it consistent with what you know about them?
Mm,
But then also, if you think about like how often we internalize stuff based on our history, right?
absolutely,
And we
yeah.
can internalize, oh, he's not a good communicator. He's not this. He's not, we could take it personally when really, if you look at like the broader spectrum, like, oh, he doesn't communicate well with anyone, not even his family or his
Yeah.
friends. So I can't really expect him to communicate well with me. This is a capacity issue. It has nothing to do with me. But instead, we take it on of like, oh, well, maybe I can help him change, or maybe I can do this and whatever. And it's
Yeah.
like, no, you
Yeah.
can't.
I know. I hate your, as you were saying that, I'm like, oh God, I was like, I've been there. Like, and you're like,
Same.
oh, like, you're like, oh, like, you just want to help this person. And but then, like, you just get to the point and you're like, and you're right, you make excuses. You're like, oh, but this, but they're, but his parents got divorced, but like, he's never seen a healthy relationship. Like, I think you get to a point in your healing journey and also too, like, I would love to also, I think we talked about this, but, as well. But like you get to a point in your healing journey where like you have to be responsible for your own actions and your
Mhm.
own life, right? Like I could blame, you could blame, we all could blame our parents, our environment, whatever, for the rest of our lives and stay stuck in that place.
Mhm.
But I know you chose a different path, I chose a different path, and not saying I had any really trauma or anything, but like we're all once you get to a place of like adulthood and healing, like your upbringing, you can decide differently.
Mhm.
And that's another thing I would love to pick your brain about too, because that I have a theory. But like are like nature versus nurture with narcissism, are they made? Is it a I mean, I'm sure it's a combination. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think it's a combination. I always call it the generational trickle. You
Yeah.
think about like how was this person's dad or mom?
Hmm.
How did they get treated growing up? I joke, but it's probably more close to facts. Like, I think behind every narcissistic man is a mom who doted on them and never held them accountable. So they feel entitled to a lot of things. I mean, it could be dad that does it too, but more often than not, I
It's
see that
mom.
it's mom because also, not to say that every narcissistic person has a narcissistic dad, right? But like if dad is treating mom a certain way and making her feel like she has to overcompensate with the
Hmm.
child, then we just recreate the same cycle over and over again throughout the generations.
Yes. I would agree with that. I actually just saw something like once again, I'm on Instagram a lot, so I feel like I should stop saying it. I just saw this on Instagram because I don't know if it makes it less more credible or less, but like I think about things before I say them, and this person was and this but there was this quote, and this person was like when because I think when you as a woman or you they always say like, oh, look at your a future partner or a man, like look how he treats his mother and that's how he'll treat you. And this quote was, I thought it was super interesting, and it kind of rings like what you're saying is don't look at them how the man treats their mother, look at how their father treated their mother, and that's the pattern that person's gonna pick up. And I was like, yes, all of that,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
that's what they see as the model of a relationship.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I see that all the time. And working with mostly adults now, I see where they've just recreated the pattern
Mm.
again and again and again. And our brains really love patterns. So
Oh,
they'll
our
allow us
brains
to
love
create lots of
patterns.
them.
Yeah, our nervous systems love that's how we train. Like, I mean, I always say that to everybody. Like, that's why also too narcissism and being stuck with like an or in a narcissistic relationship is so hard to get out of. It's because it's a pattern.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
like it's just being in your nervous system will go to what's familiar, even if it is dysfunctional, dysregulating, unhealthy, it would rather go to that than something uncomfortable and healthy.
Hmm. Yeah.
That's why I think that's the real danger I find with these kind of or the like the minimal ones that I've been involved in, and thankfully like I got out of them and these people are no longer in my life. I don't even have to like I mean you have to co-parent unfortunately with your ex-husband, which I applaud you for doing that. But like that's why they're so hard to get out of because it's this constant cycle of
Hmm.
like revolving door of you just making excuses and they get you it's like I think they say it's like being like addicted to a drug like
Hmm.
like trauma bonding it's like equivalent to like being addicted to a heavy duty drug.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it's so hard to go through the withdrawal of
Mm,
that, right? Because anything that comes along that's healthy after that also seems very overwhelming.
that is true. Yeah, because it's like it's not comfortable. You're like, oh
Mhm.
my
Yeah,
gosh.
because you're trying to make it go out of the pattern. You've been on this
Yeah.
dirt trail this whole time, and now you're going to go chase butterflies, and your brain is like, let's just keep
Yeah.
going with what we had. We don't need all of that over there.
I know, I know. It's definitely, I would say though, for anybody who is like in a narcissistic relationship or thinks they are, not, I'm sure. I say like, I mean, I'm sure you tell your clients the same thing, but no contact is the way to go. I know like it's hard like to
Yeah.
go that no contact because you're gonna get that withdrawal, but one like it's amazing what can happen when when you finally go no contact and then you start to heal because that's when the real work starts. Like and it takes trust me, I know it takes it might not take one try. It might take a couple tries to go no contact, but the sooner you can, the better.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Because it just helps you reset your nervous system. So the further you can get away from that, the more balanced you'll feel. So whenever you're near it again, your body will be like, no,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can't handle
exactly.
this. Because change the pattern of it.
Yeah, yeah. And I will say too, I mean, I'm sure and like I also too thank you for like sharing that like, like I know you shared with me the first time that like you're a therapist, like that's how not
Mhm.
to say how dangerous these people are, but that's how conniving these people can
Mhm.
be. Like you're trained to pick up on behaviors and patterns and people and yet, a narcissist walked into your life too.
Yeah. But also I'm human, so
That
I
is true.
recreate the
Yes, we oh
same
yes.
patterns, right? And then it's like,
That
oh
is true.
wow, let's look at the disconnect here.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I would that's another thing. Like I think sometimes people have this like I'm not like therapists. We know life. I'm like no. We just decided to go to a path to help people and heal people. We do not do life better. We are not above anybody. We're all human for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely. It's just at certain times, like we know things, so we can't unknow things. We can't
Yes.
unsee things. It's just we may not be saying anything, but we're
Yes.
all
We're
here.
thinking Well, it's funny too because it goes back to like, you talked about generational and you think, I agree wholeheartedly that like especially with relationships and things like narcissism, it ties back to those initial relationships we had in our
Mhm.
in our our young life. I mean, whether it be a family, whether it be caregivers, but um and we see how, our families and are modeled and we see how love is, portrayed and or not portrayed and then that's what we know. Like that's all we know.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
that's why I think it's so important. Like and not I'm not like family blaming or anything, but like you have like that's why for the work that we do, I feel like it's hard not to look into somebody's like family in their past life because like it models so much of your current relationships and oftentimes as you know and as I know like the way you're in a like your current relationships will always show the wounds that you need to heal whether you like it
Mhm.
or not and I think that's the beautiful thing about relationships but also it's if you don't heal those wounds then you're just gonna be stuck in this, I always say like, either they say you either repair patterns or you repeat them.
Mhm.
And it's not even and it's not easy to repair them. I'm not saying that if you're a cycle breaker of generational trauma or any sort of generational pattern, but you also can't be and one other MFT I had on the podcast told me this, like and I loved it. It's like you can't also interrupt a pattern that you're not aware of,
That's very true.
you know? And I'm sure working with, your clients and your experience that with narcissism, like I don't know if we're ever going to find one that is like willing to change. That's
Mhm.
kind of like an oxymoron.
Yeah. Because they don't think that they should have to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So to find somebody who has or somebody who has narcissistic tendencies and that pattern in their family, if they did inherit them themselves, I don't think we would find that person in therapy saying like, I have these traits and I want to break them.
Mhm.
I want to break this pattern. I don't think we would find that. But hey, I would love to be proved wrong.
That would be great. It would be really fantastic. And I think that's probably why, there aren't that many diagnosed narcissists out there, right? But
Mhm.
they're the ones that avoid it the most. So, they're like the most undiagnosed, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I
They
mean,
just
I know
avoid
it's
it.
not, I know obviously like there's the obviously the, the list of things that people have to have and they need to what have like I forget, I mean, I don't know, I don't have the DSM in front of me, but there are things that you have to have
Mhm.
like a checklist of, like, I know, like grandiosity and no empathy and manipulation, like, although, but like once you check off a lot, you have, that's how, and also too, if you have to go see a mental health professional, that's the first
Mhm.
step,
Yep.
which is, yeah, as you said, these people aren't going to make, because in their mind they're not, you know they're okay.
Yeah. Yeah, basically. I've
Yeah.
heard a couple say, well, I only go to therapy to make everyone else happy because they really think that I need to be in therapy. So I'm just going to go be in therapy. Or they'll go to therapy to learn how to manipulate better.
I've heard that too, that it's hard to find, because as therapists, we only see people what for 50 minutes, an hour a
Mhm.
week if you're lucky. Like that's a portion of your life. We're not seeing the day to day. So
Yep.
somebody can turn on the charm for 40 minutes, an hour. I mean, or if it's 40, 50 minutes a week.
Hmm. For sure.
Yeah. So no, I'm with you with the, I don't know. I'm very yeah, I would love to just be a part of the if there's ever a case study of like a willing narcissist to come in and like want to change, because yeah, I would love to be part of that. I love how you just laughed. You're
Yep.
just like,
It'd be nice.
cause, but also too, like, I mean, I see these people. I would love your perspective on this too. Like, I see these narcissists, because a lot of think there's a I think there's a like a miscomprehension that these people are, they love, like, they're very conceited, and they're like, and because they have that like kind of like they're like very grandiose, sometimes they're like a little arrogant, but I see them as people who actually like hate themselves, like they don't have a lot of self-love, they experience like deep amounts of shame for
They
being
do.
who they are. So yeah, I would
Yeah.
love to know your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think, if you think about how they may feel towards themselves, um, I think there's definitely a range, right? They live in La
Yeah.
La Land and they can act and do whatever they need to. And then there's some that like genuinely just hate themselves and there is a lot of shame. But it's also like if they didn't have those early formative connections and like healthy interactions, there's no amount that we can give them now that's going to make up for that and make them better.
Yeah.
It's like you're always pouring into an empty cup, and then sometimes they're like, "Oh yeah, and let's just dump that too." Not even wait for it to sift through, just, you know.
Why do you think, like, I guess they're, you think they're, why do you think that is? They're just like, because I maybe it's just, in my mind, like, because I'm just being the person that I am, like, because I mean, I don't struggle with NPD clearly, but I just, the lack of awareness, I think, is what boggles my mind the most.
Hmm.
Is that like I try to walk through the world like that, like perception is reality, and like the way people perceive me, like, of course, like, we can have our differences, right? But I like to kind of keep perception and my version of reality like very, like pretty much walking on the same line.
Hmm.
And it boggles my mind that these people can't, like, I feel like they just don't have that mechanism in their brain. It's
Yeah.
like they live in, like, and like they clearly, I mean, it's said like they live in a like their own realities.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
I just can't, maybe it's just me. I just can't comprehend that.
Well, yeah, we can't put that pair of glasses on because we don't own them,
I
right?
know that's true.
Because sometimes the things they say and do, you're just like, is that, oh, that's your reality. Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
And how eager they are to convince other people of what their reality is when it's not actually what happened, making you look bad.
Yeah, I know. I fortunately I've never been in like a smear campaign by one of them, thankfully.
Good. Yeah, lucky. Lucky
Yeah,
you. You've been
I
spared.
oh yeah, no, but well, I can only imagine the impact that would have on somebody, especially if they're away, if this person has isolated them from their support system and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot. It gets to be because I think that's another way to tear them down after
Mm,
they leave, right? Of like, oh, you thought you were gonna have all this support without me? No, I didn't
mm.
think so. And they just piece by piece, because they know that if they get you weak enough, you'll come back.
Yeah. I've actually, my therapist has told me that, and this, like, she wouldn't mind me sharing this, like, that she has somebody in her life that had a narcissistic, person, a husband, and they are now divorced, and like the person said, like, oh, like this person's like my husband's never gonna come back, and my therapist was like, yeah, they are, and like,
Mhm.
and lo and behold, this person, and that's another thing too. Why do they always? Is it because they see you as like a weak person, or is it just to get that dopamine hit again, or I don't know.
Well, they see what you're willing to do for
Mm,
other people in your life. They see that you're willing to bend over backwards. They see that you're willing to love the unlovable. They see that you're willing to do the
mm.
things that average, normal people, whatever you want to call it, don't do. And they're like, ah, if she can do that,
You can
she
do
can
that for
take care
me.
of this. Yeah.
I mean, you bring up a great point that like I think anybody that is in like and I don't want to generalize, but I just did. Anybody who is like in the mental health field or a therapist like cares about people, I would hope. And I would maybe like even go as far to say that we're all like very empathetic, and I consider myself an empath. And I know for that, for me, I am moth to a flame to people, to narcissists. Like they
Mhm.
see me and they're like, ooh, how much can I get out of this person?
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Which I know, not saying I like actively walk around and be like, are you in, like, like I mean, I just am a very giving, um, generous person, and I have big feelings. But like, I mean, I've got caught in that trap, and it took me a while to realize, because I, like, when I was younger, I was like, why do I keep like finding these people? And then I was like, no, they're finding you. Like it's not like me going out and seeking them. It's like they're looking at me and like as a target.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
unfortunate that that's how it goes. You don't even know you're being targeted
You're right,
until
you
it's
don't.
too late. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh, now I got to get out of this.
Yeah, because I will say too, they're very, very charming, very, I mean, very, very convincing. But yeah, until you get into that, like that, I don't know, like you trigger them or something I would say in my experience, it's like when something goes like blatantly wrong in the relationship is when like you're like, and they react a certain way, like that's you're like, oh, and it's not a normal reaction with
Hmm.
these people.
Yeah.
It's
Never normal.
yeah, and it's very loud and like just uncalled for, I would say. Um, because as my therapist has taught me as well, that like people with like NPD and people with narcissistic tendencies, they like don't actually have a lot of control over their emotion. I mean, we all don't have control over our emotions. We can manage them, we don't have control. But my therapist has educated me that these people with narcissistic personalities, and tendencies, they actually don't have a lot of like they can't really manage their emotions. So that's why
Yeah.
they lash out, or they have these like very extreme like experiences because they don't know how to manage their emotions.
Hmm. That, and sometimes they like that reactive abuse piece too, because
Mm.
it regulates some of them, right?
So interesting because
Yeah, it's very strange.
I was gonna say, because I was like, because I isn't I was it's so funny you like said that, because I was like, isn't the like whole point of being regulated is not to be reactive, like
Hmm.
that's just the opposite of what you want to be.
Yeah, but some people really truly feel calmer when they've already dysregulated everyone around them.
Interesting. Wow,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Yeah, it's because you're like, why are they, because those moments where like everyone was doing fine, why are you acting like this? Everything was going fine, why are you having this big reaction? And we internalize it as if it's something we did or didn't do, but really it's just them trying to figure out how to calm themselves in the
Mm.
only way that they know how.
Very interesting. I thankfully have never experienced that before.
That's good.
I was getting another time I'm lucky.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, I mean, thank you so much for just like
Yeah,
shedding
of course.
light on this subject. This is not an easy subject to tackle. And I thank you for the work that you do with your clients and helping people to heal themselves after. I mean, it is a form, I mean, narcissistic abuse is real.
Yep.
Um, and that's something that I would hope people take away from this conversation is that you can like I'm an average like I'm not like I'm just an average person and I've experienced this, you've experienced this, and it's really I'm sure if there's a study out there, I mean, I can only imagine the percentage of people that have been impacted by some form of narcissism, whether it be like parent, child, or, interpersonal relationship, or I hate to say that the statistic is probably way up there.
Hmm. Yeah, it's probably pretty bad.
Yeah.
But I mean, there is hope. It's just no contact, lots of therapy, and, you know, learning how to take care of yourself.
Yeah, and learning the I can think like learning the signs too, something that like while like I would never wish what you went through on anybody or what I went through on anybody, I think once you experience that, you are not the same person as walking into the storm as you were.
Mhm.
And you're, as you said, unfortunately you're almost hyper aware of like these things, which is, both is part of the healing journey, but it is unfortunate because that you want to like I don't want people like that to steal away people's like hope and people and the goodness, because there is good out there. It's just, you
Mhm.
have to kind of sift through it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Well, thank you, Caitlin, so much for being on the podcast. I really enjoyed this conversation. And if
Yeah,
anybody's looking to work with Caitlin or has, given light of their, if they have a fortunate experience with the narcissist or just need some therapy in Florida, I know you do remote as well, correct?
yeah, yeah,
Awesome. So she's available. But as per usual, you can find the Feeling and Healing podcast on YouTube at Feeling and Healing, as well as Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Thanks, everybody.